Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Network 216 exclusive. We got some breaking news to cover tonight. I am Tyler Johnson, joined by Jacob Rhodes, Nick Barnes. Gentlemen, how are you
I'm doing great. We're having a little bit of audio issues with you. You're cutting in and out. Just a heads
Lovely.
up.
Lovely.
Oh, that sounded
fine pre-show. Go live, and immediately the mic just dies.
Hey,
Because a moose ran into my mic.
what's supposed to do? Tell that moose to move? If you haven't seen that video, we'll send it to all of you. Just DM us. We'll show you the video. I'm fantastic. I was getting ready to go to the movies. I went to the movies, took my little sister to see the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. As soon as I was getting up to go, is when the Shelby Harris news broke. So I'm doing fantastic.
Yeah, you know what, Jacob? I was out. I was going grocery shopping. Jacob calls me and just goes, "Woo!" And I'm like, something happened. And so he informed me that the Browns traded for Shelby Harris. Today is a good day.
Yeah, today is a good day for sure, especially considering this really came out of nowhere. But before we break this down, just a reminder, guys, be sure drop a like on the video. Really help that YouTube algorithm grow for us. But also subscribe if you're brand new to Network 216. We are so close to 1,700 subscribers, and that's only 300 away from our goal of 2,000. And we can't thank you all enough for your support, but we ask that you, again, subscribe to the channel if you're new. It's free to subscribe, so there's no reason you shouldn't check out the channel. But also, sorry, what?
I was going to do an homage read, but were you going to do that too?
No, I was actually, I normally don't in short videos, but you're welcome to.
Hey, man, we got a bunch of great homage like this shirt. Here, go check it out in the link in the description down below.
That was great. I love it. I love it. But anyways, guys, we're also going to have a link for the Network 216 Discord in the description for you. Again, you can join the Discord for free if you kind of just want to see what's in there, what kind of content we have for you. But if you decide to join, we have betting slips from our betting team in there. But also we do have Browns updates and rumors, Ohio State recruiting updates. That's huge right now. And all your favorite Cleveland sports teams. So it's only $10 a month to join. You're not going to find that type of deal anywhere else. So the link is going to be in the description if you want to check out the Discord. Gentlemen, it's kind of crazy that this really came out of nowhere today. I was just scrolling through Twitter. I was actually getting ready to eat some dinner. And all of a sudden I see Jordan Schultz tweet out that the Browns are signing Shelby Harris. And absolutely ecstatic for this move. Another veteran defensive tackle that we've talked about for a while the team needs to add. So what are your initial thoughts on this? The deal itself, the max is $5.3 million, so we're going to assume it's going to be probably $2 million, $2.5 million guaranteed, not much. Seems like a steal for Andrew Berry once again on the free agent market.
And I would think Jack Duffin has already tweeted out his predictions for what he thinks the financials will look like. I'm willing to bet, like you said, 2 is probably on the high end of what the cap hit is there. So they're still going to remain with like 15 plus to roll over. So like what you did is you went and secured the last piece that I think you need. That was the piece that you really needed to complete this especially on that defensive line, but to complete this overhaul and give Jim Schwartz what he needed. That was the last piece. You're going to do it probably really financially beneficial to you. You're not going to spend a ton of money to do it. He was the best left on the market. And he's not a pushover. We'll get there soon, obviously, but this felt like the missing piece they needed for us to really, really get behind this defense. And I got to think that Jim Schwartz is probably the happiest guy in Ohio right now.
Yeah, I think something was up when Jordan Elliott was playing in the Hall of Fame game. I think we all kind of knew that. And for me, this was probably the biggest place that I was nervous about the Browns roster and just their prospects looking forward. And Shelby Harris, man, I'm so excited because my favorite stat about him is that last year he had 44 tackles. That would have ranked number 1 among all Browns defensive tackles last year. And you're pairing Shelby with Dalvin Tomlinson. I know we're going to get into what that means. It's so exciting, and I feel like, to me, overall, it sends a message that Andrew Berry last year, he had a lot of success with Malik Jackson and Malik McDowell a couple years ago. And last year with Taven Bryan, with Jordan Elliott, not so much. So I really like that Berry didn't just simply run it back and showed us basically that he knows. He's he's learned that lesson from trying to platoon the position. It didn't work. And so I'm really glad that we're seeing investment, because we all know how important 2023 is for the Browns. And I feel like Shelby Harris is that piece. That you look at the Browns defense top to bottom, I think there's a lot to get excited about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at Shelby Harris, he's 6'3", 300 pounds. He's going to be 32 years old when the season begins. Still produces very well for the Seahawks. And again, the Seahawks defensive line was nothing spectacular last year by any means. Still posts a 73.2 overall grade. This is a guy that's going to line up next to Dalvin Tomlinson. You kind of talked about it, Nick. So this is what it looks like. And again, you never know what can happen in the preseason, but this is the projected now Browns defensive line for 2023. Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith, Dalvin Tomlinson, Shelby Harris, Ogbo Okoronkwo, Alex Wright when he's back healthy, Siaki Ika, Jordan Elliott, Isaiah McGuire. How does this defensive line stack up to some of the other ones around the NFL? Because I think now with you adding Shelby Harris, you could make the argument from a lineup standpoint for your starters, the Browns have one of the most talented defensive lines in the NFL.
Yeah, I think when we've done this game a million times in the offseason as we get closer and closer, but on paper, it is everything that you need. And we'll start to see these things come together. I'm sure you won't see Shelby Harris this week, but you might see him in the preseason, and you'll definitely see him next week in Philadelphia with the joint practices. He'll be in time. That's a big thing too, because those are what they really like, is those to get ready for the season, them joint practices, and you will have Shelby Harris for that. I'm not concerned that he missed, 2 preseason games or anything like that at 32. The veteran's been around here. But in terms of talent, man, it's got to be in the top half, probably the top 10, especially if it stays healthy. And there's rumors, too, that if he gets healthy, that Tristan Hill might actually bump Jordan Elliott. So we'll see if that happens. But I think, man, if you look at this top to bottom, you've got 3 really hyperactive, hyper-athletic edge rushers in Okoronkwo and Zadarius Smith and Myles Garrett. And then you got 2 dudes in Dalvin Tomlinson and Shelby Harris who play over 500, around 500 or so snaps a year and are good at both facets of the game. Both of these dudes are big, hulking, strong players that can both rush the passer and shut down the run. Listen, you get Shelby Harris with Ika, or you get Shelby Harris with Tomlinson, or Tomlinson with Ika. Those 3 right there will be so much improved on just the run defense. I don't need to, and they can rush the passer. Well, Ika can't, but these guys, you have 4 starters that could pretty well go anywhere in the NFL and probably start on that on a defensive line wherever they go. And I think that's the most telling. They're just hyper talented up front, and now you've given Jim Schwartz everything, and you just sit back and enjoy it.
Yeah, you know what? Admittedly, I'm sipping the Kool-Aid, but I think the most important piece of this to me now, as far as the NFL goes, I would imagine that I'd like to say that this will be a top 10 offensive or defensive line, but I'm confident no matter what in saying that this is the best group that Myles Garrett has played with since the Browns drafted him and added him to Cleveland. And you know what? I think back to those nightmare scenarios when we didn't have Myles against Atlanta and just what the pass rush was completely non-existent. And you're not going to find yourself in that situation. You know that one of the biggest things that stuck out to me about watching clips from Shelby Harris is just his effort and his hustle. There's a couple plays where Shelby Harris chases down and catches up with Daniel Jones, it's like a 3rd and 9 play and tackles him just short of it. You just see so much hustle from Shelby, and I feel like those little things matter so much, and I can't wait. As far as where this Browns defensive line could be, I think the sky's the limit. So I'm tempering it a little bit, but I just think that Myles Garrett is finally going to have the help that the Browns have been trying to build around him since they drafted him. And that is, I think it's perfectly timed. 2023 is probably the most important year since the Browns returned to the NFL in 1999. And this build started with 0-16, with 1-31, and I feel really great saying this is the most talented group that the Browns have had when you're looking at that build and to where they needed it to be for 2023.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nick, I would agree. It's by far, Myles Garrett's never had more talent around him than he does now. There's no question about that. I think what you also get with Shelby Harris, I mean, he has played, and not that he's going to do this a lot, but you want to talk about another defensive lineman that has the versatility to play on the edge or inside. Shelby Harris can do that, and he has done it. You want him more inside, but he, again, can play outside, and that's going to be very versatile for Jim Schwartz. As we're wrapping things up, guys, I want to talk about real winners of this, of the Browns signing Shelby Harris. And for me, because I'll go first for this one, I'm just going to say the linebackers, because Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, Anthony Walker, and then Sione Takitaki, and then depending on who's your fourth linebacker, whoever makes the roster, I mean, you're talking these guys last year could not do anything. And the reason why, everyone wanted to blame the linebackers for poor performances. You had 5 guys that ended up with season-ending injuries. You had a lot of guys you just signed from the streets, but also keep in mind, these defensive tackles couldn't eat blocks. So guards and centers can go right up to the second level, and that's why the Browns had a historically poor run defense. Now, Shelby Harris can eat up a block or two. Dalvin Tomlinson could take 2 blockers. Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith. You can't block all these guys on the offensive line. So what's Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah going to do? If healthy, he's going to have a career year. Anthony Walker, if healthy, he's going to have a career year statistically. These linebackers should be the happiest people right now in the organization, because now they have the opportunity to fly around and make plays. Exactly why you bring in a guy like Shelby Harris. Not only for what he gives you from a veteran standpoint, a leadership standpoint, and just being a proven commodity in the NFL, but what he can do for the rest of the overall defense, especially the linebackers.
Yeah, and in real quick, I just want to give a couple of stats, just real quick, and then I'll give you my answer to that question. So his first 2 years, his rookie year with the Raiders, he only doesn't play much, and he plays less than 150 snaps his second year. But they're on from 2017 to 2012 in terms of pressure numbers: 19, 19, 28, 27, 32, and 28. He goes 6 sacks, 3 sacks, 6 sacks, 3 sacks, 7 sacks, 2 sacks, and then right from a right. This is a complimentary piece. This is not one of your, this is not the main pass rusher. This is your fourth pass rusher basically. At any time, like fifth or sixth. But if you look at stop tackles as well against the run, he goes with 20, 19, 27, 19, 23, and 23. So he does it all. He's a veteran. He can do it all. And you know who I'm gonna say benefits the most? The corners. I think the corners really benefit from this situation, because now you've got such a platoon of pass rushers as well as defensive linemen that can stuff the run. And these corners are not going to have to block for very long on a lot of these situations. Like you talk about that Atlanta game where you could just sit back there in that pocket all day because you wasn't rushing the passer. It's like if Myles goes down or Dalvin goes down or Zadarius, you have got a legitimate rotation at edge and on the inside. Siaki Ika can come along slowly. And I truly think that he's really good against the run. He's really good against the pass. He's not like elite at both, but he's really good at both. And I think it's just this chain reaction. He was the missing piece, and I think the corners are going to eat as a result.
It's really hard to say the entire defense doesn't win from this, but I think my winners are a little bit of what you touched on, Jacob, is Siaki Ika and Jordan Elliott. Now, I'm assuming Jordan Elliott's still going to make this roster because they guaranteed the money to him, but you were in a situation before where you were either going to be relying on Ika, your rookie, to be a significant contributor, and you still are, but you were in a situation before where Elliott and Ika and maybe one of your lottery tickets in Hill or Hurst were going to have to be major contributors for you. One of those guys, 2 of them, were going to have to be. And so now you're at a place where your entire defensive line, your starting defensive line, is full of veterans, guys that have been there, done it, been productive everywhere they've been. And so maybe now maybe Jordan Elliott's not cut out to be your starting defensive tackle, but could he be a meaningful contributor in a more limited snaps role? That's possible. Could Siaki Ika be a lot better with more time to develop, less pressure on him? I certainly think so. That's the type of environment you want any rookie to come into. So I think the defensive tackles that you were going to have to rely on that now have a little bit of the pressure taken off of them, that are more focused on development, I feel like that there's a clearer path for them. And so the defensive line as a whole comes out as winners from this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, as a reminder, be sure to like the video if you haven't done so already. Again, and subscribe to the channel. It's completely free. Very easy to subscribe. It's going to be right there on the top of your screen. All you got to do, click that subscribe button. It lets you know all the videos that are posted from Network 216. Again, help us reach that goal of 2,000 subscribers. We're only close to about 300 away, and we really appreciate all that support. Again, if you're just joining us, the Browns have signed defensive tackle Shelby Harris. Of course, there'll be a lot more reaction to this over the coming days, but we really appreciate you tuning in to this Network 216 exclusive. We will talk to you all again soon, and go Browns, baby.
Go Browns.
Nope.